There it is. We're live in two
It
seconds.
says,
2 seconds live already. Five.
"Oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are It's not showing though on the thing. I'm watching the channel.
Oh, here it
I
is.
see it
Oh,
on
you
the
got it.
thing. It's like
Okay, you see it.
6 to
Okay,
17. Yeah.
I'll post it in here. What's up, guys? If anybody's watching, we got 3 people watching at least. More people might join, but I gotta tweet it out and stuff. I didn't do it yet. I just like was editing all day for that video, and I finally got it rendered and done to premiere it real quick. I was like, oh, let me put it out.
The TYT.
Yeah, they're maniacs. They're so crazy.
You
And
should see how
hilarious.
Larry. You should see how Larry describes each and every one of them.
Really? I should talk
Oh,
to him about it. I probably would find it funny.
it's funny because I was like, "Oh yeah, so stick on TYT." Oh, you mean? And then he started naming each and every one of them, and I'm like, "Okay, sure."
Has he seen my videos? He'd probably think it was funny. No.
No, but he did see when you first started and you started
Hmm.
talking because he was the one who told me that you had a YouTube channel in the
Hmm.
first place. So that's how I was aware of it. So he probably has seen it. I don't know. Larry's weird. Sometimes he's into something, then like you'll forget about it.
Yeah,
Like
he's.
he still hasn't watched Andor, and I'm like, yo,
Oh my
like
god, that
come
show's
on,
really good. Is
yo,
there
for
another
real.
episode out yet or not?
Yeah, it came
Yeah,
out
right.
yesterday.
I gotta watch the next one.
I already saw. It. I could tell you. I could tell you the spoilers right
No,
now.
no, no spoilers.
No, I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you.
that's
He died. He
um,
dies on the beach, holding another girl.
well, we know he can't die. So.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, no, but what are you talking about? Yeah, he died. That's on the beach holding another girl,
Mhm.
holding Jalen
Oh
Urso.
yeah, you're giving the other the
Yeah,
later spoiler. Yeah, the Rogue One spoiler.
no, that's what
Okay.
I think I posted Rogue One. I go look the series finale to Andor.
Yeah, that's true. That would be the series.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if it's gonna end right where that is. Maybe are they gonna do another season? You think?
no, I think it's yeah. If they do, I think that the logical conclusion is like the final episode is
Mhm.
looking for Jyn Urso and going through all that
Hmm.
and like finding
Yeah,
about Galen Urso and all that. I think that should
okay.
be like are gonna be like the last episodes.
That could be interesting.
You know, so that way you can connect the series to the movie. Because yo, I was like, yo, I'm always talking about this and I never got to do it, but I'm gonna do it. So I watched Rogue One and right after I watched Episode 4, and wow, man, it like it get after doing that, Rogue
Mhm.
One gives like a shot of steroids to Episode 4 because
Really?
like in the end of Rogue One it becomes a
Right,
chase.
right where it ends.
So
Yeah,
now, yeah, so now throughout the
true.
whole time as you're watching Episode 4, you're still in that momentum of that chase.
Hmm.
So even when Luke is buying the droids, you're still like, holy shit, hurry up, bro! Like the Empire's on their way.
Yeah,
Like
and
it's
then leads right
crazy.
into that beginning scene where they capture
Yeah,
Leia, and the droids are on the run with the
yeah,
information, right?
and
So
then it
that makes
continues on the
sense.
Tatooine. So like it becomes,
Hmm.
it's crazy, yo. Because it turns Episode 4 into like a faster paced movie. It's
Hmm.
like psychologically because you already know yo the Empire's on your ass and they've been on
Right.
your ass, like a movie ago.
I still
So,
wish they'd make a Shadow of the Empire show. They
but
never
did
did.
that? Yeah, I think Andor's
That
the
would be
closest
dope.
thing though we have.
Yeah, Ender is the closest thing, but we need a Dash Rendar like the
No,
old
yeah, we do.
64 game. But moving on to Marvel now.
Marvel.
I think a lot of people have been down on everything after Endgame, basically. I mean, there's some stuff that I know that's kind of universally been liked, like Loki,
Yeah,
uh, well, WandaVision. That was pretty much everybody liked that too.
Mhm.
But
yeah.
most of the other stuff has been pretty divisive, or people view it as middling, maybe. What are your ideas on where it's been going so far since Endgame?
Well, the thing is that when Endgame came out, we blew our load.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
we blew a huge load, and right now we're recovering from that. So
Yeah.
we need to reestablish stuff before the next thing. The
Hmm.
problem is that people like now it's kind of like the genie's out of the bottle. Now they want to see end game level shit, and it's like yeah, but you gotta wait. Now we
Hmm.
gotta build. We starting from scratch, just like Iron
Right.
Man, the first Iron Man, and the Hulks, and you know there's gonna be hit and misses, but at the same time, is this is different than the other phases because now TV shows are in the mix and they're
Right.
part of it, like
Hmm.
really part of it. You know, between 1 and 4, the phases, it was all mainly movies for the most part. You know, and
Hmm.
then
That
like
is a
these.
thing that Feige has said, and I think it holds true that you don't really need to watch the TV shows. Like you could
Yeah,
just
because
watch the movies and you're fine, just like they were before. The TV shows are really like deep lore stuff for like fans, right? Or like real specific shit that you don't really need for the main overarching Marvel story, right?
no, yeah, that was his
Right.
philosophy during the first 4 phases. But now
Hmm.
that's completely changed with Disney Plus and all this.
Yeah,
Now
true.
that's integrated into it.
Hmm.
Now it's a thing. You know,
Hmm.
where at first we thought it was gonna be a thing. You know, when Daredevil came out, it's like, oh shit, it's part of the MCU. But then Feige was like, nah, that doesn't count. So now anything that's on Disney Plus that counts.
Right. As
So
canon, yeah.
yeah,
But you
exactly.
could still watch the movies without watching the shows, and you still have the overarching story, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I mean. Like it's not
yeah.
necessary. Like you don't have to watch every single Marvel show to enjoy all of Marvel. You know, to
See,
enjoy Marvel, you can skip some things, like the TV
you
shows, especially.
see, you could say that from phase 4, but now,
But now some of them are important, right? Like
yeah,
Loki's
exactly.
pretty important.
Like, look at Doctor Strange. You
Yeah,
needed to know what happened to Wanda in
Wanda.
order to find out what happened,
That's true. You
in the
couldn't really
movie.
go into the new Doctor Strange without having watched Wanda. I guess you kind of could have, but it
You
would
could
you
have,
would
but it
be
would,
missing something. Yeah, you'd be
yeah, a
missing
lot of
a
something.
lot of it because the movie itself kind of downplays a lot of one Scarlet Witch's stuff, like story
Yeah.
within that Doctor Strange movie, which was really short, and I wish it wasn't as short because they could have really done a lot more with her in that. But
No, yeah, I know.
yeah, but if
But
you
then
watch the show, it does do a lot more, right? And that really is the build up to that.
it's the build up because the MacGuffin in that movie is her kids.
Right.
That's what she's trying to get to.
Hmm.
And the only way you can know how important are her kids are and what happened is you watch, WandaVision.
Hmm.
So now that's what they're leaning towards. Now you want to know why all of us. Let's say if you only watch the movies and all of a sudden the next Avenger comes in and you see, Sam Wilson holding
Hmm.
Captain America is going. He's like, how the hell did that happen?
How did that happen, right?
Now,
Yeah,
now it's
it
part of the
is kind
lore.
of a thing. Like, if you recall, for a long time we had all these movies, right? These superhero movies, and we didn't have a huge, Marvels. This is the first time we've had such a huge franchise of films that carry across like this, right?
Yeah.
So, if you remember before, we used to have these movies where they would get rebooted all the time, and people were just tired of the origin story. And I
Mhm.
think that's a big part of what happened. So now the TV shows are relegated to being the origin stories. You can skip those and go right to where the person's already a superhero and a character already. But if you want to know their backstory, you can go back and watch the TV shows, right? I feel like the comics, it's funny because they're running it almost like comics run the
Mhm.
Marvel industry, where it's like the characters that people don't know as much, they appear in team books, and then you read
Yeah.
those and you go, oh, I like this character. So then what do? You go back to their
Mhm.
individual books, and read about them and find out about them. And it's kind of like that's what the TV shows are. You don't really need them, but they add to the experience of the movies, right? Like you can go back and watch it and
Exactly.
expand the universe, basically, right?
And it's crazy because the one movie that should have been a TV show and it shouldn't have been a movie was The Eternals. That needed to be flushed out.
Yeah, Eternal should have. You're right. Eternal should have been a show. That
That
should
should
have
have
been
been a show.
a long running show instead of a movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with some episodes highlighting on one or two characters and seeing their origins, that would have worked better because throwing in all these characters at once, where in reality, even in the comic book world, the Eternals were like C level, B level characters. You know,
Yeah.
it's you know, I think they were
But
hoping for another Guardians, but the Guardians had charm.
right. Yeah. Well, the problem with Eternals is they're like deep lore stuff. That's why they would have
Yeah,
been good for movie. The only people who would like that movie are the people who want like the nitty gritty, like deep story of what's going
yeah,
on behind the cosmic scene of Marvel. But without that to me, that was I actually didn't even need the Eternals to be in the movie. Like to me,
hmm,
the whole interesting thing of the movie was the background story of how the cosmic universe within Marvel works, right?
yeah,
And stuff like that. And they're just there just to put a story onto that
exactly.
background information. Yeah, which was kind of shitty that they did it that way. I can see. Well, you were making a point earlier about how they blew their load with Endgame, but it is a thing. We've never had a franchise kind of last this long, and it's like you can't. It's impossible to keep outdoing yourself. You know, you keep
Hmm.
to get to Endgame. They kept having to outdo themselves, up, 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 till they got to the top, right, and then it ends. And then it's
Yeah,
like, well, we can't just keep going up from there. We have to go all the way back down to the bottom and build
exactly.
again, right? And start building again to the next big thing, that's going to
Yeah,
spark again,
they need to catch their breath and
Mhm.
like, okay,
Right,
now that Tony, Steve, and Natasha are gone, which were
right.
like
And you got to establish new
mainstay.
characters and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hmm.
now, we're getting with the Young Avengers. Hopefully, that's gonna be a thing.
Hmm.
But the funny thing is that on this was also a comic book issue problem for years, for decades, because
Hmm.
even though comic books like went with the ages, they really didn't. Like technically, by the time we read the X-Men, Cyclops should have been in his 50s.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Because
know
that what they call that a sliding time scale, right? Like
exactly.
because
So
they
that's
actually keep it that they've been around since the 60s, right? Or they'd be super old by now. So there's like a
exactly
sliding time scale where time doesn't work the same basically for them as
no.
well.
But the problem with that is now the roster of superheroes, is thin. So now,
Right.
and it wasn't until the last 15 years that
Hmm.
we started catching up with newer heroes, with X-23,
Right.
Ironheart. Like now we're catching up to like the next generation of heroes. Where in my opinion, that should have happened in the late '90s. We kind of got there, with
Hmm.
kind of like with the 299 editions and the Gen X, but they would after a while they went back to the original cast. Same thing with DC.
It's hard to top the original superheroes. Like they were just
Yeah.
created perfectly at a time where they're
No.
almost
Yeah.
timeless. Like they almost become
No.
like if you think of some of the older ones, like certain characters like Captain America and Spider-Man, you never really have to change what they look like or their costume or their story. It just
No. It
works as
works.
a timeless
Yeah.
story,
Exactly.
right? Nobody gets tired of Spider-Man's costume, right? No matter how many generations have gone by now.
Oh hell no! I'm
Yeah,
always looking for
the
like
classic.
so far the Tom Holland one is the best one I've seen on film
Mhm.
from the classic look.
Yeah, yeah. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I like him as his own MCU Spider-Man, which
Yeah.
sets the tone again, where the MCU is not the
Hmm.
comic book timeline, right? These heroes are different.
Yeah.
And we have again Peter Parker is a good example of that. As the MCU Spider-Man, Peter Parker has a totally different story. He just had his Uncle Ben great power and great responsibility moment in the last movie,
Yeah.
his third movie basically.
Yeah.
So what they're really telling you in Marvel right now is, which I think this whole arc and wave is going to focus a lot on Spider-Man. He's going to be like the Tony Stark of this, like the main character basically. And I think he's gonna this is the moment where he truly becomes Spider-Man, was in that last movie when he learned that lesson there. So you
Yeah.
got to take it like everything before then is kind of his origin story, meeting up to him becoming now no longer, it's like boxing, like you were an amateur boxer and then one day you hit the professional league,
Yeah.
like that's him hitting the professional league, that moment where he learned that lesson. So from
Yeah.
here on out, we're getting Spider-Man, the already established superhero.
Yeah, as opposed to like in 2002's Tobey Maguire, where they did that in like the first movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He learned the
Hmm.
lesson. He became like that's him, the neighborhood, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man by like
Hmm.
the second movie.
I
But
like
yeah, like
that Spider-Man a lot.
Hmm.
yeah, nah, he like that was the best at the
Yeah.
time.
I still hate the Green Goblin costume in that
No,
movie.
no, we all did, we all did. At the
Power
time,
Rangers villain looking ass motherfucker.
but we remember
I
at the
hated
time
that.
we all thought to ourselves, yeah, but what we're gonna do? We can't give him a rubber mask. It's gonna look silly.
That's what they said. I thought it would look cool. 'Cause I remember Sam Raimi saying that, and I'm like, yeah, but Norman Osborn's a nut job. He would
No,
totally
yeah, I
sit
remember
there
you
and,
saying
and
that.
go
Yeah,
through the trouble of putting on the latex to look like the
Yeah.
Green Goblin. He's
yeah.
a nutbag like that. He would totally do that.
Yeah,
But
but you
no.
remember this is coming from a time where now we
Mhm.
can't put blue and yellow on X-Men movies.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
gonna look
true.
weird.
I remember
Like,
thinking that too with the X-Men costume. I'm like, why they give him this leather like Hellraiser kind of
no,
costume?
and no, but we all said the same thing because if they put blue and yellow, it's gonna look stupid.
It's
You
gonna
know,
look
it's not gonna.
stupid, yeah.
It's gonna look
Meanwhile,
retarded. Me
we're
exactly.
starting to get that now, and the
Yeah.
costumes look good. I like the MCU costumes. Most of them look really cool.
No, yeah,
And in the end, the MCU isn't like exactly like the comic, but they do capture like the spirit of each character pretty well.
Mm.
no,
Like,
exactly,
yeah, and
and
compress it into shorter movie stories.
no, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people thought like, okay, now that we have these heroes, they're gonna be with us for the next 20 years. But it's
No.
cool that they compressed it. That
Mhm.
we got little versions of it, like
Right.
Tony's alcoholism. That was that wasn't just a one issue. That lasted for a minute.
Yeah.
We got that kind of
Oh
a
yeah,
little
we
bit of
had
that in part
Rhodey
two.
as the Iron Man for like a decade, almost for most of the '80s.
Yeah,
because Tony
exactly.
Stark was out being an alcoholic, right?
Exactly. So we kind of got a little bit of that in part two, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, they compress it, but they hit all the right notes, give or take here and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and I think even when they don't hit the right notes, I still kind of feel like they do it in a proper way that works.
Yeah, and that's why you have to, for the most part, you have to, you have to give them some slack because, compared to other franchises that,
Mhm.
and other movie properties, you know, that's why like this whole thing with the She-Hulk thing and everybody making
Mhm.
a big deal and complaining about it. It's like, dude, number one, it's She-Hulk. She looks like She-Hulk. The origin is like
Yeah,
She-Hulk. She like the character is done correctly and accurately. What?
that's what I
It's
thought.
because yeah, and it's like what? It's because it's different. Because oh well, she's breaking the fourth one. Yeah, but that's the whole point. And it's like to the point. It gets to it like, okay, so what do you want? Do you want the same Marvel things again?
Mhm.
And then when you do, then you
Exactly.
start. Yeah, then they start complaining. No, we want something different. All right, here's something different,
Yeah,
and it worked.
yeah.
I think it
If you
worked.
don't take risks, they're never gonna find what other
Exactly.
people might like or how to bring in a larger audience like that. So it is true that people complain, and there is a thing where people are like, "Oh, there's going to be a superhero boredom and stuff. People are going to get bored of the superhero stuff." And it's like, yeah, well, if people are going to get bored of it if we keep doing it in a formula like they do
Yeah.
with horror
Yeah.
movies, right? Horror movies have become so formulaic. You
Yeah.
don't want superhero movies to go through the same problem, right? So you have to basically, like they did in the 80s and the 90s with horror movies, is work within other genres as well. And you make sci-fi horror, comedy
Yeah.
horror,
Exactly.
And that's what they're doing with superhero stuff now too. Now we have, some the kind of superhero stuff that subverts genres, and then like the evil superhero ones, and like there's so
Yeah.
many different kinds of stories. There's only so many ways you could do it. With She-Hulk, they wanted to do a lawyer sitcom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of in the vein as I found it to be in the vein of like Ally McBeal, kind of, but with like a
Yeah.
superhero as the main character.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
a lot of people a lot of people were complaining, that it's a female show, but that's what it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't going in there thinking, it was gonna be a Daredevil like thing or like a
Yeah,
Jessica Jones.
yeah, like
You
high
know,
action or anything.
Mhm.
exactly. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be what you saw, breaking the
Mhm.
fourth wall comedy about a woman and woman's point of view and whatever. And then that's when everybody started complaining about the ending. Oh, what the hell? She just, breaks the fourth wall and does that, and then we get that weird ending. I go, yeah, because like what else were we gonna do?
Mhm.
Seriously. Like,
I think
what
it
else were
kind
we
of
gonna
works
do?
with the character, but in the end, that is like the most popular run that She-Hulk's ever had. Which, mind you, She-Hulk has never had a a very popular single run
Mhm.
ongoing
Yeah.
comic book. The one that's lasted the longest and has been the most popular was the one from the 90s, which only lasted like 4 years or something, right? But
Yeah.
that's the most popular one with John Byrne, where she broke the
Yeah,
fourth
that's the one.
wall. It was mostly
Yeah.
comedy,
And that's
and
what a lot of this show was
mhm.
based on.
Right, and she would do the same exact thing, like how the show ends with her basically telling Kevin Feige to
Yeah.
change the story, is what she would do to John Byrne in the comic. She would rip through the comic book, right, and talk to him straight and be like, "John, what are you writing me into? This makes no sense. Change
Exactly.
this
So
now." And then he would be
Yeah.
like, "All right," and rewrite a different ending in the comics, right?
see, like, if this was like they've never done this before and her
Hmm.
character's never done this before and they do this, then I can understand, like, yo, what the hell,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? But again, this is part of the lore,
Right,
like
right.
Mhm.
you knew what you were getting.
That is part of what I liked about it, was that it made Marvel Universe feel bigger, which
Yeah,
was cool because there was a lot of like little obscure characters that you would never see normally if it wasn't for a show like this, that
exactly,
that is like from when I was a kid, and I enjoyed too seeing in the comics. But even in the comics, they were treated as goofy characters, so
exactly.
it's fun to show that this world also has this range of like goofy characters who try to be villains and heroes and fail,
Yeah.
like that was, to
Yeah,
me, that was hilarious, and I still think they should make a spin-off show where he goes and tries to become a hero, and he tries to sidekick with a different superhero
Each
every
time, that
episode,
would be
right?
funny.
Like he could sidekick with Daredevil one
yeah, that'd
episode,
be funny.
sidekick with She-Hulk another episode. He always bumbles his way through or something.
That'd be funny. That'd be
Because that's
goofy.
kind of what he
Yeah.
did in the comics. I remember him doing that
Yeah,
with Spider-Man and Daredevil, trying to be their sidekick. And he always like ended up, he was kind of like honestly, he's kind of like a Jar Jar Binks kind of character
no, yeah,
where he
yeah.
kind of fumbles his way into stopping the criminal, but he still ends up succeeding. But
No, see, that will be cool.
So
Some,
I thought his character was funny. I thought that was cool. And he's also a Daredevil character, so it was cool to have
no, yeah.
Daredevil appear in that episode with Leapfrog as the villain, right?
I didn't think they were ever gonna do the yellow, the mustard yellow red
Yeah, the
Yeah,
yellow
I
and
never thought they
red,
were
right?
gonna do.
Cool.
Yeah, but I was like, well, I'll be damned. And they actually look good. It didn't look,
It did look good.
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't look all cheesy.
And that was
like
a really cool scene too, where they were fighting in the hallway, and then it was like
oh yeah,
his version of beating up people in the hallway, and then her version of just like slamming through,
Yeah.
because she's just super powerful. But it does. Another thing was a lot of people try to do like the woke stuff, and they were saying that this show had a lot of like, man hate.
Characteristics about it, the qualities about it.
But I feel like it was
pretty.
pretty. I feel like it was pretty evenly displayed, right? There was good
Yeah.
men, and
Yeah.
there was bad men, and there was good women, and there was bad women in it. Like it was all
Yeah.
pretty evenly done. Like, yeah, they had stereotypical like toxic men, but they also had stereotypical toxic women,
women.
and
Yeah.
good men and good women, right? Like was it she throughout the whole show? Everything she learns is almost all everything she learns is from men, like all the lessons, everything
Yeah, yeah.
Bruce
From
teaches her in the
yeah,
first like 2 episodes ends up coming to bite her in the ass later
Yeah.
on, the things that she didn't listen to
It's
the whole
all
time,
things that
right?
he's learning.
And they all come back, and she learns that lesson at some point. Same thing with Daredevil. Through that lawsuit and through him fighting and stuff, she learns the meaning of why people keep secret identities, right? And why it's so
Yeah.
important, which ends up circling back and haunting her with the intelligentsia, right? When they reveal all her stuff, and
yeah,
they show, and they have a sex tape of her and all this shit that they reveal to embarrass her, kind of is also her getting bit in the ass of not thinking about hiding her identity and not thinking about secret identities and stuff. And it
yeah.
shows her
Because she,
that as well.
yeah, because she wasn't really big into the superhero thing. She thought it was gonna be like whatever.
Mhm.
But the thing is that, like, yo, these people, the people who really get up in arms about it, they're the
Mhm.
sensitive little bitches
Yeah,
on
it's
the
true.
internet that
Mhm.
like cry about the most stupidest shit. Number one, it's a TV show, people. One,
Yeah.
number two, like, for the love of God, like, if you can't take a guy being bashed by a female, like, what the fuck? Then you're mad and insecure, bro. Like, for real.
I
And I
think
bet you, and I bet you, those are the same people that watch WWE and love it when like China hits somebody in the balls.
yeah, it's
You
true.
know,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. But like on the
Mhm.
show, oh, how dare! And again, those are the same people. I guarantee these are the same people that watch The Walking Dead with their kids, and no joke, called and got pissed about when two male characters made out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was
Like,
in the
It's the same
comics
type
too,
of
right? Because that was Eric.
yep.
What was his name? I forgot their names.
No, but think about this for a moment. Like,
Yeah,
you're making you're making your kids watch a
which is
show
not for
with
kids.
people,
It's
which
a
is
show
not for
for
kids.
adults. Yeah,
People
it's rated
getting
for older
fucking,
audiences.
yeah,
Eaten
people
up.
getting eaten, killed,
Yeah, and
curses
then
being
the
thrown
problem is that
around,
Yeah.
regular sex. No, but two guys kissing. No, that's where I draw the
Too
line.
that's always been kind of an issue, because you remember like old school days with horror, they would like,
Yeah,
you could have like guts and blood and everything, but you show like half a boob and you get rated R. You know?
Oh no, yeah. It's like it.
I remember
Um,
the Friday the 13th movies used to be like that, and then they started cutting out like the nudity so much so they could
Yeah.
get those ratings, right? The lower ratings. But it's like, but through all that, you're getting spears through people's heads and eyeballs and guts everywhere. It's
No,
fun.
it's funny because in an episode of Roseanne, with I forget, is it Darlene? Yeah, Darlene, the one that's played with by the brunette.
Hmm.
She goes,
Mhm.
in the episode, she goes, to Roseanne, hey, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go with this guy to go watch a rated R movie, and she's like, you're not going, and she responds, it's not sex, it's violence, and Roseanne goes, okay, just be fine, that's fine, you know.
They probably started laughing.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
that's always been the thing, yo. It's like for some strange
Yeah,
reason,
it's
like
weird. Yeah,
sex in this country, it's like, but
it's true.
what do you expect when you're discovered by Puritans?
Tracy Lords kiss. What was that in? Who? Oh, was that in Roseanne? Did somebody kiss Tracy Lords?
What? Who?
I don't know. Somebody in the Synthetic Rebellion, the chat said Tracy Lords kiss. I don't remember that.
Oh, I know who Tracy Lords is.
Yeah, yeah, I know she is, but I don't remember her kissing. Was she in Roseanne? I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's always been a weird thing. But I think another thing is that it's a big like incentive. I think these people, half of them don't even watch the shows.
Yeah,
And I think it's just
Just watching.
incentivized because they have an audience that wants to hear about those things, right? They
mhm,
have like a right wing audience. That right wing audience just wants to hear what's woke about things, what's not. Oh, he says,
exactly.
I believe it was Tracy Lords, and I could be wrong. Yeah, okay. I don't remember the episode very well, so you're the one. But I might have been Tracy Lords in that episode, one of her
Oh,
first
was she? I don't know.
appearances.
I just
Um,
remember. I just always remember that clip when she says that to Roseanne. It's like, it's always stuck with me. How like, and it's true. This country's like, you show a boob, God forbid, but
mhm,
show 20,000 people getting blown up. That's
yeah,
okay.
but there is a big like incentivization for that. Like I've been seeing a lot of channels that do that, and there's a couple of YouTube channels that did a good job breaking down. I know one was Nando V Movies.
Hmm.
I forgot who the other guy was, but they break down like going over the other guy, critical think drinker, who's like he drinks and he like reviews movies, but he's going over his stuff and he's like half of the things he's saying is wrong. Like that's
Yeah.
not what's happening in the show. So it's like it's either he's not watching the show or
Hmm.
what he's doing is watching clips or just scenes and not
Or
actually
hearing
watching the whole
Skipping
show, right? Like just watching
exactly.
scenes and then putting and just bitching about like the woke stuff and then like oh hate women, hate men. It's like yeah, but that's you missed the next scene that actually reverses everything you're saying and
Yeah.
actually
Exactly.
is a self-aware joke on that or something. You know, like there was a couple of things where they do woke jokes, but they were kind of
Mhm.
self-aware and it's like they're almost making fun of the woke stuff too, like
Mhm.
making fun
Yeah.
of both sides, thinking how important it is and stuff. Like they kind of make fun of that landscape, of dealing with the internet and dealing with people being like, "Oh, you're woke," or the other side saying this, and, and they kind of make fun of that a bit. Like
No. Yeah.
the one guy they have in the clip from the internet saying, "Why She-Hulk? Why can't she be her own
Oh yeah.
superhero?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, that really is something they say." It's like, and it
Exactly.
really, what's funny is the whole reason she even exists in the comic books is for that reason, like because they want to appeal to the female audience. So they're like, let's take a popular male character and
Yeah.
turn it female, right? And oh, it wasn't Tracy Lords, it was Muriel Hemingway, which I remember her. She was in Superman 3, Superman 4, Superman 4
Oh yeah. Her. Oh, she's
with
hot.
the radioactive dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible,
She.
the terrible one.
Yeah, but it was funny as a kid. I used to watch that movie all the time
Yeah,
because
me too. When you're a kid, all those terrible movies are great. Even the one with
because,
Richard Pryor.
because we only had two movies out of that first four where he
Hmm.
actually fought villains that matched his strength.
Right.
The other one was a
Yeah, it was like
computer.
Lex and
Yeah,
the
so like
computer.
this, yeah, 2 and 4 were the only ones that we saw him battle. So I know it's
Before Tim Burton Batman, that's the only superhero shit we had, really.
no exactly.
That was any good.
Yeah, no, we're
Hmm.
spoiled. We are spoiled,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and, and
We're
that's the
spoiled
funny
now.
thing.
Yeah. Which is part of it.
Exactly. I,
Hmm.
I guarantee you, if this show was to come out 10 years ago, before Endgame and all that, not even before Iron Man, I guarantee you wouldn't get a lot of hate of it. Everybody's like, oh
Hmm.
my god, the CGI looks good, everything is, but you know. But now, again, we open up Pandora's box, so now they expect everything to be perfect or grandiose or whatever, and
Hmm.
if it's not to their liking, but for the most part, that's just those people that bitched and complained and made a big deal are, thank God they're a minority.
Hmm.
Because for my understanding, a lot of people actually like the show, and Again, people, it's free, bro. It's a free
Yeah,
show. So why are you
yeah, yeah.
complaining
Why
about
is
the
it so
free
bad?
show and they did justice to the fucking character? Like, what's there to bitch
Hmm.
about? You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of
Like,
people don't give the like it is the spoil thing too because TV still does not have the budget of movies and people will
Hmm.
still bitch
yeah,
about like the special effects. And it's like, yeah, but obviously they're making what was it like 9 episodes that were 30
yeah,
minutes, which is what like 6.5 hours. That's nowhere near that's like three
exactly.
movies, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, or at least two Marvel movies.
And
So
they
that
want to
and they
do it
don't even
quick.
have double the budget. So
Yeah,
obviously they're gonna
exactly.
cut back on a lot of the budget.
They only have TV budget. They
Hmm.
don't got movie. I bet you if they had movie budget. I'm sorry, if they had movie budget, she would have looked, you know, better.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's like again, it's free, people.
Yeah, it's
Like
true.
it's
As long as you got
free
Disney
and
Yeah.
Plus.
it's a comic book TV show. Like, yo, go back to 1990 where we would love for that.
Yeah, we
You
would
know,
love
like
for that to be a thing.
like
Yeah.
like I know we bitch a lot about the future, but one of the greatest things is that, dude, to be walking in Times Square and seeing a giant billboard of Iron Man and War Machine there. And it's not just you who know who they are, like
Mhm.
everybody knows who they are. It's crazy. It's
That is
insane. It's
crazy. Yeah.
insane that everybody knows, like, like men and female on their 60s and 70s know what Wakanda is.
Right. And we get all
Like,
the
yeah,
stuff that we always. This is the stuff I wanted when I was a kid, and I used to dream reading the comics and be like, "Man, why can't this be a movie or a TV
no,
show?"
but think about it.
And now we get that.
Even
And
as
nobody knew who
con,
Thor was. Like I used to have
no,
Thor comics.
exactly.
Nobody knew who Thor was. Nobody knew what Wakanda was.
No, but think about it. Like now, Wakanda's to become this super popular worldwide
Hmm.
thing, where even in the world of comic books back then, Wakanda was just, oh yeah, it's Wakanda's right there. You know,
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, it's no different than upstate New York. To us it was like, and now it's like this thing. It's so we're spoiled, man. So like, you can't, you gotta chill out with the bitching and whining and shit sometimes. You know,
Hmm.
like
One
sometimes it's
thing.
justifiable, but this time around it's like, come on, man. It's a
Yeah.
show. It was good. Like it didn't
This is where I
suck.
talk about where I think it's like incentivized sometimes to just bitch about these things. Like people want
Yeah.
to see people complain. Nobody wants to see anybody talk about how good something is, right? You want
Mhm.
to
No,
see
exactly.
how, yeah, you want to complain about how bad something is and pick it apart. Most movie critique and review stuff or television stuff you watch is them picking stuff apart, right? Like so they
Yeah.
nitpick
No, yeah.
everything and they're just looking for things to dislike about it. But for the average viewer, if you go in open minded and to view what you're, to not have like not to come in negatively or positively and just watch it, I think
Yeah.
for the most part you're gonna come out like it's not for everyone, that's for sure. It's not the best
Yeah.
show. It's not
Hmm.
even the best Marvel product, which She-Hulk never has been.
Hmm.
But it's exactly what it is. It's a middle point kind of thing that you could kind of enjoy, have a good time with, and not take too seriously.
Yeah.
Within the Marvel universe, which helps expand the universe itself. You don't even need it. Obviously, you can, the story, it kind of makes sense where it wraps up too, because it kind of just goes right back to, yeah, now she's a character. Now you know who
Hmm.
she is, and now they can easily just throw her into any Marvel film or product,
Exactly.
and that's it.
And in the meantime, here's Daredevil again, just to let you know
Yeah.
he's safe. He's in
Hmm.
the MCU, and
And
that's
now
it.
they have a kind of a relationship with Daredevil and She-Hulk, so she might be appearing in his stuff too,
Yeah.
like doing
Which
a
again,
cameo.
which happened in the comic book.
Hmm.
Some
But
of the aggression from people like criticizing She-Hulk, it was kind of like I heard people questioning the writing staff and if they've even gone to school to know how to, write a story and
Hmm.
things like that. And it was just kind of silly.
Meanwhile, the
Yeah.
showrunner has worked on multiple things on Adult Swim and all these
Yeah.
other
Like Rick and
shows and
Morty
stuff. Yeah,
and
she's worked on Rick and Morty and all these other
but
shows.
that's what this show was supposed to be. This show wasn't
Hmm.
supposed to delve into like serious stuff.
Yeah,
Like
it's not.
yeah.
sometimes we need to like, and that's what's good about the MCU. Now everything has to be the Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
Not everything has to be Endgame. You can have
Hmm.
these. You can have your Ant-Mans.
It's
You
actually
can
a
have
thing I really like about the MCU and Marvel so far is that
yeah,
a lot of these characters and each individual franchise is kind of its own genre, right? Like
Exactly.
yeah, like Ant-Man delves more into kind of heist film, but also science
Hmm.
kind of stuff. You got like Iron Man was like the tech stuff. Captain America
Mhm.
had the espionage kind of,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now,
nationalistic kind of stuff. And
yeah,
it
so
was
now
all
everything
enjoyable.
has yeah, so now
Hmm.
everything has to be like that. And that's what it
Yeah.
is. A lot of people want everything to be serious. Like, oh man, it has to
Hmm.
be, like, the Dark Knight almost, blah blah blah. And it's like,
Hmm.
yo,
Editing.
exactly. It's like it doesn't have to. It's
Hmm.
like this was a TV show. Almost this was like a sitcom. The only thing that was
Yeah.
missing was the
Yeah.
studio audience.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's
And
like
it's fine.
it's almost like all it needed was
Oh,
a laugh track, right?
that was another.
Exactly.
We heard somebody argue that this show was not a sitcom. It wasn't a sitcom at
Hmm.
all.
And then they
No,
pointed
it
to
wasn't. It
Frasier as being
wasn't.
a
I'm saying it.
sitcom, and I'm like, it kind of was a sitcom.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
sense. Their cast and crew. It had comedy, and it followed a superhero basically. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
It
So
was a
being a lawyer, so
situational
it seems like
comedy
it
for sure.
it kind of is, and it even goes with the rules of it. Like being a sitcom, as like the old sitcoms would not really keep their continuity. So it's
yeah.
almost like her rewriting it at the end is almost like she just wrote her own sitcom, right? And she's like, oh yeah,
Exactly.
and the continuity doesn't stay and stuff. What makes tech stuff different from tech is engineering, science is like quantum stuff, and
Yeah.
like Ant-Man shrinks through use of like physics and stuff, and he manipulates, he used
Yeah, that's the
manipulated
DNA
science.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you got the armor
Where
stuff
which
for
is a
like
different kind of specialty in science that tech stuff people have who are engineers and create machines and
Mhm.
algorithms and shit. Coding is different.
yeah, like like Bruce can and like he can build an Iron Man suit like from scratch. But he could go into quantum mechanics and like
Mhm.
discuss it. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there was a lot of it has to do with people complaining about woke stuff. Another one that we were laughing about was this one girl we saw. She was reviewing it, saying that she was wearing a bad suit, right? Because there's a part where she first starts wearing suits,
mhm.
and it looks off, right? And they even reference it in the show. That's why I'm like, I don't think some of these people even watch the show, because she's like,
Yeah.
oh, they do this on purpose because they don't want her they want her to look like a man. They're trying to hide
Oh
her
my
woman
god.
figure. But within that same scene she's talking about that she had frozen, they
Yeah.
talk about it, and she says, her friend makes fun of her for wearing that suit, right? She's like, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, it
You
was
need to
because
get
of
some
this,
new
right?
clothes.
And then the very next episode is her going back and meeting that tailor guy, right? That makes her a suit
Yeah.
that fits her, and then that's it. The rest of her suits fit her. It's pretty funny that they do.
Yeah, because people have no patience and it's just they're waiting to pounce because it's something for them to do. It's getting to the point where they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
If you're gonna bitch about something
Right.
like
They're just picking on everything they can pick on at this point
exactly
for the sake of
now,
picking.
if let's say Netflix Daredevil when it first premiered came out like She-Hulk,
Hmm.
then that's something to complain about. It's like, oh, what
Hmm.
the hell? I thought Daredevil's gonna be,
It doesn't really fit the
dark.
character
Yeah.
either. Yeah.
Exactly. That
Daredevil's
is
supposed to be a
something
comic
to
book character.
complain about. That is something to complain about.
Hmm.
That
That's
that was a
legitimate.
complaint in Boba Fett, which I understood. Some people were like,
Hmm.
"Why is Mandalorian and
Yeah.
Grogu coming into this?" I thought this was about Boba Fett.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
complaint about. That was my only complaint about Boba Fett. Really, was that the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda had like a whole section of
2
it
or
to
3
themselves, and I'm like,
episodes.
they already
Yeah.
have
The
a
rest
show.
of that
Like,
was
let
Mandalorian
Boba get
left.
his
Yeah.
own show, if anything. But I feel like they wasted an episode by putting it all in one episode. They should have, if they were going to do that, they should have interspersed it throughout the season, as
Yeah.
in like as little bits here and there.
But you see, that's a legitimate opinion
Mhm,
about a show and whatever. What these people are doing, they're
mhm.
scraping for the. They don't have
Yeah.
legitimate,
Yeah.
like the whole. Oh man, she was twerking with Maggie the Stallion.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that was spreading all over Twitter, and people were bitching about it. And then we go to watch the episode thinking that it's like a major part of the episode or happens in the
yeah,
end. It ends up happening at the end, at the after
at the
credit scene.
credit
And
scenes, yeah,
it's already kind of established from the episode before that all the after credit scenes are kind of like like bloopers kind of things,
Hmm.
like goofy bloopers, like they go back and in the one and they're laughing about Captain America while they're drunk, like her and
Yeah,
Goose.
yeah,
So it was like that, it's kind of established already that the after credit scenes of the show are meant to
Just
be like
throwaway
blooper jokes. Yeah.
bits. Yeah.
So it was like, wow, they
yeah.
were really making a big deal out of
They
nothing,
made
out
a
of this
big
three
deal out of
second
them,
scene.
and I'm
It
like,
was like
so
totally
what?
nothing.
And it's like, who cares, man? Let superheroes have fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was just
Like,
goofy. I mean,
God, everybody has to be Batman.
hmm and then
That's
they
the
try to say that it's failing because a lot of people are complaining about it. But you look at the
yeah,
numbers, and it's not really. It didn't fail. It was the number one viewed show on Disney Plus,
of
at least
course.
at
Yeah.
the while it was coming out.
But
So
those
it
aren't
didn't
real numbers.
fail.
Those are all
hmm
bots. Everybody
Yeah,
is not really
It
watching.
does. It does sink below like there's a thing that like it's because it's Marvel and stuff, right? Like they hit numbers so high that
yeah.
when they don't hit numbers that high, people consider that a flop. But that's not what a flop is.
No,
A
exactly.
flop is like you lost money or didn't go past breaking even on a product.
Yeah, a
You know what I'm
flop is
saying?
like only ten
Yeah.
thousand people saw the show.
Mm,
That's a flop.
exactly. So even like a lot of people complained about Captain Marvel as well, and that was one of those movies where they were like, oh, it's gonna flop and this and that, but it didn't flop. It didn't.
It didn't.
It still got its money. So it's like
Mhm.
Yeah,
maybe it is true that some of these things just aren't for you, and like and
mhm.
Marvel in general. I was saying this about She-Hulk because somebody was saying I don't like the fourth wall breaking stuff, and I was like, well, you might have to consider that She-Hulk just isn't the character for you.
Yeah,
Like not every Marvel character you're gonna enjoy. That's the thing about having such a big franchise is they start sprouting out these little spin-offs that are for different people and
Yeah.
different styles. And you don't have to watch all of it. You can
yeah.
enjoy what you enjoy of it and and not watch the rest. I have friends who didn't like She-Hulk, but they didn't hate it either, and they were like, "I watched a couple episodes, it was okay," and then I just dropped out of it. And I was like, "All right,
Mhm.
like that's
Yeah.
that's legit." You know what I'm saying? If it ain't
Yeah,
keep your interest, it ain't keep your interest, legit. But
yeah.
to
But it's
complain
fun.
about things that if you watch the show is opposite
Yeah,
of what you're saying, that doesn't work.
but yeah, and again, they're complaining about stupid little things that have nothing to
hmm
do with anything, and it's like, I don't know. It's funny to me, but going to your point about like you don't have to like everything. Again, it's
hmm
like how it is in comic books. We
hmm
didn't buy every single
No, no.
comic book
I
character,
I promise you,
you
I have
know.
like maybe 3 issues of '90s She-Hulk, and that's probably
Yeah.
all the She-Hulk comics I have at all in my collection.
Exactly. It's not like
I like
so.
her though, and I like her as a character, but I've always liked her as a team character, a team player. I
Mhm.
liked
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
I
yeah.
liked her in the
Like
Avengers. I liked her when she took over for the Thing in Fantastic Four. I like her in teams, but when it comes to her as an individual character, she's not that interesting.
yeah.
For the show, it was fun. I smile. I'm not probably not going to go back and watch it multiple
Mhm.
times. It's just one of those shows. You watch one off,
No, yeah,
it's
yeah. Just
enjoyed.
watch it and that's
It
it.
makes its money
Same.
back. It's enjoyable, and you move on.
Yeah, the
And
same
it
thing
builds the
with
world.
all the other ones. But again, like you
hmm
see, I didn't expect Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Hawkeye and She-Hulk and
hmm
Ms. Marvel to be the same show or Moon
No,
Knight
no.
to be the same show. They're not.
And some of them have been surprising to me. Like the Hawkeye show was surprisingly better than I thought it was going
No,
to
yeah,
be. I
me
was
too.
not expecting that show to be that great. I'm
Yeah.
not a Hawkeye fan. I didn't even think he's that great in the MCU.
No.
Yeah.
But then the show ended up being really entertaining.
Oh,
The girl that's playing Hawkeye, she did a great job.
no, she did a great job.
hmm
And Elena is my
Yeah,
new
she
favorite
was
character in the
awesome.
MCU. And no, she's my new favorite character. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
That's with
between
the
that and Black
Thunderbolts.
Widow,
We'll see
yo,
her in
hell yeah.
Thunderbolts.
I mean, she was great. Like,
Um,
but
what else was
again,
there? The Miss Marvel show. It was more for like teenagers, but I didn't find it bad at all, and I found it to
I
be kind of
liked it.
like a
Yeah.
Spider-Man kind of story.
Yeah.
Like since we didn't
now
kind of get Spider-Man story, she kind of has that high school kind of Spider-Man
Mhm.
ish story
with that,
where
I've
she
only
learns.
seen 2 episodes so far of that.
Oh, okay. Let me not
Oh,
spoil it
okay.
then, because there's
There's
something
a
big in that
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
spoil for
because
you.
I wanted to watch it with my daughter, but now she's like, no, I don't really
Mhm,
want to watch it. So I was like, all right, I'll end up watching the whole thing. But I did watch the
mhm,
first 2 episodes, and I liked it. Again,
mhm.
it's
It
like
starts off a little slow though. It does get really good towards the end,
Mhm.
and
for
there's a
me, I
lot
was
of
just trying.
big stuff revealed in it too.
I was just trying to see in the first 2 episodes where in Jersey
hmm
City were they filming.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, okay, let me see, have I been there? No, but I like the whole vibe. Like when it came in with the animation and
Ooh,
everything.
no. See, that's a person. See, that's where we get like somebody in the chat brought something up. That's already a person who I know didn't watch the show because they say
Well,
she's instantly better than Bruce. She isn't. The show shows you that she's not as better than Bruce. She's not as strong
yeah,
as Bruce. She has to figure out other ways of doing things that Bruce can do easily, and she has to like the clapping thing where he does the clap in one clap, he can knock her over. She's
yeah,
not able to do that, and she has to figure out another way to do it by clapping multiple times to build up the energy, right? And the stuff where people were lying too about the scene in the clip where they were saying that they weren't getting the concept, but when she was saying that she could control her anger, she
hmm,
wasn't as in control of her anger as he is. A lot of the point of the story is that she has an outward appearance that's not true. Like she has a self-esteem issue, but she
yeah,
portrays herself as if she's not. You know, she portrays herself as being this confident person, but she's truly not. You see it throughout the show, where she lies multiple times. She's an
Yeah.
unfaithful narrator. You see it
yeah,
multiple times. And then it's men who teach her the way.
mhm,
From Bruce, every lesson Bruce teaches her at the beginning throughout his training comes back to haunt her, and she learns it the hard way when she could have just listened to him from the beginning, and she ends up learning it. Daredevil, she learns a lesson from. She
mhm.
learns from the four minor villains in the camp, the
Yeah,
like
in the
cult like therapy
yeah,
camp, and she learns from them how to keep cool and get past certain things and shit.
From
So I'm like almost
Daredevil,
everything
like
she learns throughout the
yeah,
show is from men. Like
yeah,
so, it's bullshit to say that men were portrayed as being weak and stuff.
no, it's
Well,
because of
no.
that one character and
yeah,
her dates. Because God forbid, like
When Bruce is
because
trying to train her in the first episode, yeah, she couldn't keep up with it.
yeah.
yeah,
she couldn't. Yeah, she couldn't keep up with Bruce, and she was like failing some of it too. She was able to do certain things like more of the agile kind of stuff because she's
yeah,
slimmer and able to do that kind of stuff. But for most of it, she had to figure out how to make herself more powerful because she couldn't keep up with Bruce.
and isn't it interesting? This
Okay.
is the first time we actually got to see the size of the Hulk now that he's Professor Hulk. Because look how he was compared to the Abomination. He was smaller.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
like now it's like, see, he's not the Hulk.
Hmm.
The Hulk was the size of the
I
Abomination.
thought him starting like that cult resort thing was funny too. I thought that
Oh
was pretty
yeah,
funny. It's all about like keeping, the whole Hulk thing is about rage and keeping cool and shit. So it totally makes sense that he would make like a cult kind of thing to get out of being in jail, right? And be like,
yeah,
look, I'm
exactly.
reformed. I'm part of this religion now. That's and he has like these women that are cult following that are like pining over.
And now he's gonna be part of Thunderbolts
Yeah,
with Harrison Ford.
I thought seeing the Wrecking Crew was cool, and I hope that does
Yeah,
something and comes back later and make them more
I
powerful. But it was cool to see
yeah,
like a first outing of them, trying to
I
figure
thought that
things out.
I thought they were gonna be not the big baddie, but I
Hmm.
thought the big baddie was gonna be the leader.
Yeah, I could have seen that. I think
I
that's what they're heading towards,
Yeah, I thought that's like
but not yet. I
I
guess
thought it was the wrecking crew was working
for
for
the
the
leader,
leader.
I thought
Yeah,
Intelligentsia was going to be the leader. Like
yeah, that's what I
as
thought.
the
I
head
thought
of
the
the.
whole thing. I thought the whole thing into like so they could start that whole process with the leader and everything. So,
Hmm.
but again, it's fine. Whatever.
Hmm.
At the end of the
But
day, now we know that they're gonna do Planet Hulk somewhere down the line.
right, but the thing with being a Hulk is that it amplifies your inner personality, right? So
Yeah,
Hulk had a split, Bruce had a split personality. So as Bruce, he's like a scientist, but inside his repressed inner child from being abused as a child
yeah,
comes out, right? So that's a
Yeah.
split personality. With She-Hulk, her She-Hulk, when she turns into She-Hulk, it amplifies her inner personality, which is the
yeah,
person she wishes she was. That
yeah.
that
The hot girl.
confident hot girl that everybody looks at and everybody loves and does everything perfect. That's who she thinks she is. So when she becomes She-Hulk, that kind of persona amplifies, just like it
Yeah.
does with Hulk. So even She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters may appear to be very similar. They aren't really, because Jennifer
Hmm.
Walters is actually a squirrely, nerdy chick
Yeah.
who lacks confidence.
Mhm.
She fakes confidence. Even in the comics, she eventually stops wanting to become Jennifer Walters and decides that She-Hulk is just who she is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm just She-Hulk. I'm going to stand. That's why she ends up staying She-Hulk pretty much most of the times in the comics now and barely ever becomes Jennifer again. Because she just, it's just where she turns back to Jennifer and she doesn't feel like herself anymore, right? So
Yeah.
She-Hulk is her outer persona. Her inner persona come out. Right? It's almost like being trans. She-Hulk is almost a trans message, and almost was
Yeah,
since
now
the
everybody
beginning,
Be
since the
careful.
80s.
Be
Yeah.
careful because
I'm
now
just
they're
saying, it almost
they're
is,
gonna
and it's almost
they,
about having your out inside become your outside
Yeah.
and becoming comfortable with that. I'm
it's
just
gonna
Yeah,
it's
I get that.
it's
I get that. I get that.
be careful. You might give somebody weapon. Oh, you see
Yeah,
the angle?
weapons.
That's a
Oh,
perfect.
She-Hulk is
There it
fine.
is.
Right into
There it
it.
is.
I don't think it was because I don't think Stan Lee was thinking that back in
No.
1980 or whoever
No,
wrote it in
exactly.
1980.
It was like we
But
just need a
if you
girl
think
version
about
of
it,
Hulk.
it kind of is, and all the
It
Hulk
is.
stories kind of are. It's them portraying their inner selves on the outside, right? To the extreme, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Even
so it's gonna
leader's like a genius, and he thinks of himself as a genius.
Yeah, it's a
so when
genius,
he
yeah.
when he turns his Hulk version, is his brain grows.
No.
So then he's just green, but with a skinny
Giant
little green
head.
dude with a big head, right? With a big green head. And it's because the Gamma for him, his inner thing was a genius.
An
So it brought
ego,
that out,
like,
and now he's a
yeah.
hyper genius, right?
Mhm.
So now it's brain versus brawn because he's the villain
Mhm.
of Hulk, right?
which is crazy because I would like to see exactly what the writers are gonna come up when they bring the
Mhm.
leader. Like what
Yeah.
they have to come up with something fucking ingenious. They just can't. Do something
How is he
stupid.
gonna look? Is he gonna be the original long head one where it's just straight up, or is he gonna be the later 90s like big brain shape head?
I think no, I don't know because
The
at
tall
the
head,
end,
because there's one there where he just
yeah,
the
the
original
tall.
one he just had a tall head, right? It
Yeah, I
wasn't
think he
like
might be
bald
the
or
tall
something.
head one. That's
Yeah.
the one I'm picturing, the tall head one.
That'd be cool.
But
Cool
with the little mustache.
Mhm.
No, well, if you see at the ending of the Incredible Hulk, it looked like his his head was pulsating and
Mhm.
it looked like it was going in that direction. But the actor who played him was talking about going back into the MCU.
Mhm.
So it's a
Yeah,
thing. That's it.
they're bringing that actor back, right, from the Incredible
Yeah,
Hulk. That
yeah.
played
For
Daniel Stearns. Yeah,
yeah, he's gonna play the leader if they
that's
decide
cool.
to go that direction. So
Are they going to
you
do
know,
that in Thunderbolts? You think?
I don't know. But the thing is,
There you
like,
go.
yes, it's funny. But Hulk, I think it's because of that Paramount, not that Paramount, that Universal deal.
Mhm.
Hulk doesn't have can't have his own movie
Yeah,
by
he can't
himself
have
in
his
the
own
MCU.
movie. That's why I was thinking maybe they'll do it as
So
part of Thunderbolts or something,
yeah,
since they have like Harrison Ford's going to be in. Is he going to turn into Red Hulk?
yeah.
Apparently, they're trying to get this girl back. Who was Betty in
Oh,
Incredible Hulk? Was it Jennifer
that's
Connelly?
no,
No,
that
the
was
other one, Liv Tyler.
Liv
I think
Tyler.
they're
Yeah.
going to try to bring back Jennifer Connelly to play it. I
Now
think I
that
heard
then
something
that's
like that'd be
that's
crazy.
a different
But
universe.
yeah, but that's what they've been doing, right? They've been
Yeah,
bringing
but
other
then you gotta
universes
explain
in.
that. You gotta
Yeah.
explain that.
Well, Secret Wars and Kang is going to explain that, right? There's going to be cracks. There are cracks already, and things are
Or
sneaking through, right?
or
I mean,
you could just
A
change.
Venom suit already sneaked through. So
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
yeah.
and it already knows,
Uh-huh.
and it knows everything. It knows everything we know
Yeah.
and more. So now it has to look for this version of Eddie Brock.
So I was like, don't be surprised if any like old school version of like characters from any movie can pop up.
That's true. Or they could just like replace the actress just like they did with Ed Norton and
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
they'll
this
probably
guy
do
and
that.
be like, oh,
To do a Red
it's like
She-Hulk. Oh my god.
they think about
many
it.
Hulks.
They could no, they could do that and be like the events of Incredible Hulk happened within the MCU,
Mhm.
but that's technically a different universe.
Yeah.
In this universe, it happened to Mark Ruffalo.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Yeah,
they
they
could
could they've
explain
done
that.
shit like that. And
So
have
they
it
could
kind of
bring.
similar.
So Betty Ross could have it could be a different actress
Different
that kind
one.
of look. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be like, okay, the event.
Well, I mean, D'Onofrio playing him has, I don't know what's his name. Not D'Onofrio. What's his name?
Oh,
That plays
Roth,
him.
Tim Roth.
No, that plays Bruce. What's his name?
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark
Mark
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo.
Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo. He hasn't had a Betty really. He's a
No.
different actor than the Betty from the Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk, who he's supposed to be the same Hulk as. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to, so he can get a new actress, and just have his own Betty, or however he's
Exactly.
gonna turn into the Red She-Hulk. Possibly, we'll have to see.
Because now that Natasha's gone, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
He's all yours.
Interesting. I want to see where it goes. There's a lot of stuff. Well, now we have the Black Panther movie next.
Yeah.
Namor looks cool. I actually like that concept of Namor being like
Yeah.
lion and stuff. I think it fits the character. Like it looks cool with it. So he always had those weird little scaly green speedos, which kind of like
Yeah.
remind me of like Mayan architecture would have that like scaly stuff.
No,
You
but
know
now
what I mean?
but it's 2022. He can't have speedos. He has shorts now.
Yeah, true. He can't
He
have
has
the
short.
little
He can
speedos.
have. Kids watch this movie.
Now he's got to have UFC shirts.
Yeah, he has to have new UFC shorts. You know, so we can't have a Mexican running around in speedos
And that's
with
the
a bunch of
end.
Africans.
So yeah, that's
that's
like
that's.
how crazy is it they make a movie that's like Latinos versus blacks? Like
Mhm.
what? Like what are they trying
And
to
in the
create a
end,
race war?
it's rumored to be a white person. And
Oh, Doctor Doom is supposed to
yeah,
be in it, right? That would be interesting.
yeah. Spoiler alert.
It is cool because if you think about it, Wakanda is kind of like the nation movie, like it's a movie series about a nation.
Yeah,
And then you think
like
Doctor
it's more
Doom has
worldly.
his own nation. Namor has
Yeah.
his own nation, so it makes sense to bring all those characters together.
And what's
within
cool,
the
and you
same
know,
thing.
and what's cool, and this is what's cool about it, and you know what characters from TV shows deal with nations? Falcon and
Fantastic Four. Oh,
no, no,
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, that could work out.
And
But
to
we
think,
still got to bring in Fantastic Four for Doctor
no,
Doom.
yeah,
though.
we do. We have to get back
Oh my god.
Jim
I'm
from The
super for
Office.
that. Fantastic Four would be awesome. I don't know about Jim from the. I think he'd be okay. He was all right in the Doctor Strange one, but I mean, I think they're kind of older, and I would like to see a younger Fantastic Four, maybe.
Yeah, but he still kind of looks young.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't look that old yet. You're right.
You know, but remember,
you're right.
Reed Richards always looked like an old bastard, even in the comic book.
It depends
He
how
al-
they do it. If they're going to be brought in from like another dimension already established, I can see them
Yeah.
being older. But if they're just becoming the Fantastic Four,
Now they
within
have to do
MCU,
they have they
gotta
have
be
to do
younger.
they have to do the Fantastic Four.
But are they
Because
just becoming the Fantastic Four, or are they
They have to-
already the Fantastic Four?
no, they have to be just becoming the Fantastic Four.
Okay, we'll see.
Because people have to see it.
I hope so. But
People
we've
have
seen
to
the
see-
Fantastic Four origin too many times.
Yeah,
so
but
that's why I
both-
feel
both-
like they might
yeah,
skip it.
But both times were done very poorly.
Yeah,
Like the first time was done okay, you know, but the whole
Yeah, first one was
Victor Von Doom thing and
yeah, that kills
they,
it.
they need to do with the crash and everything. You know,
Mhm.
like it should
And
be
then what
that.
are
It
they
should
gonna
be
do
all
with-
four of them.
And then what are they gonna do with X-Men? Is gonna be the next big thing.
No,
Yeah.
now here's the thing. I
don't know
heard.
how that's gonna work out.
I heard a
Mhm.
rumor that they're not allowed to touch X-Men until 2024, 2025.
No, that's a long time.
I heard something like that. They're not
Is
allowed
that
to
like
touch
the
it.
Fox deal or something? That was the deal with Fox
Yeah,
to
it
get
was
it back,
something
is
like-
that they can't release anything for a few years.
Yeah.
I guess so they can Fox can milk the last of the X-Men money or
What?
something.
They killed the friend. They killed it with Apocalypse. That was the
I don't-
perfect name for X-Men Apocalypse. Because after that, it was dead.
Oh my god! And then the worst part is they've done Dark Phoenix so many times and killed
They
that
did it
storyline.
twice, and they still couldn't do it
And
right.
they
And
did
it
it
was so.
wrong twice.
It's so.
I-
And, yo, and I was watching it the other day.
Mhm,
The 97 cartoon
mhm.
of the Dark, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Look how easy it could
Even
have
the
been done.
cartoon did it way better than the
Yo,
movies did,
look how easy it could
with
have been
like
done.
way cheaper writers and shit.
Yo, seriously, and not even a lot of characters too.
Mm-mm.
Like those episodes didn't have a lot of X-Men in it.
I remember
But-
it was a week-long event too. It was like 5 episodes. It was a whole
No,
week.
yeah.
I remember like getting out of school and running home like after school
exactly.
to catch it and shit, to catch each episode each time.
And what was cool, it had the Juggernaut and Gladiator in it.
Mhm. Yeah,
With
that's
the
when he
shield.
punches them around the planet. Right?
Yeah,
He
Well, he-
punches
like,
them in one
he-
direction and waits for
he
him to
put-
come back the other way and catches them.
yeah. When Juggernaut just punched him in the chest, and Gladiator didn't
Mhm.
even move an inch.
Mm-mm. Yeah, but he's Superboy, so you know.
No, you know what's insane that you saw my picture. Last minute for Halloween, I dressed up like an X-Man.
Mhm.
But I was walking around and I was like, if I could find like an X-Men logo, like a sticker for it, or like a visor, or something about or anything of the X-Men, and I'm walking around, the Spirit of
Mhm.
Halloween store and whatever, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, I feel like I'm from the future because nobody X-Men is not popular yet.
Mhm.
Because once those movies come out in the MCU, you're gonna find shit for them on those
Oh
motherfuckers
yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
all over the place.
Yo, so I felt like, I feel like I'm in the future. I'm like, ah, shit, there's
Mhm.
only 2022. Nobody knows about the X-Men yet.
Mm-mm.
Like
So
a
this
time traveler.
this Black Panther movie is going to be the end of this arc, this wave onto and then it's gonna start another wave or phase,
What?
whatever they call it.
No, the phase
Yeah.
is this the last one of the
I think
phase?
so. I think they were saying this Black Panther movie is the end of the wave or whatever
Wow.
they want to call it, and then it starts the next arc,
So
which
no
is going to
Avengers.
start with Quantum Mania, right? And that's going to start the
Yeah,
next big arc of dealing with Kang, basically.
yeah. That's technically the next
Which I
movie on
guessing
the
makes
line.
sense why this Black Panther movie might introduce Doctor Doom, because then Doom and Kang, right, will be the
No,
next
yeah.
big thing for to meet up in Secret Wars or whatever is going to be Doom and Kang, basically.
Well, right now
Totally
Kang
makes
is the
sense.
Thanos.
Yeah.
He's your resident Thanos right now.
Hmm.
So before we
Yeah,
get
but I think
Galactus,
this time we're getting two. I think we're gonna have two
him.
Thanoses. It's gonna be Doctor Doom and Kang vying for power, like in the end, like
You know, if they
and the fight's
if
gonna
the
be between them.
if the MCU plays their cards right, man, you know how many Thanos we still got left.
Oh my god, so many
Yo,
characters, so many
we got
wars and beefs.
Galactus, we
Oh
got
yeah.
Onslaught.
Well, Galactus is probably gonna come with Fantastic Four. That's probably whatever Fantastic Four is gonna do. They're probably gonna lead up to Galactus and Silver Surfer.
And all
I
that.
think
Yeah.
they said they're making a Silver Surfer movie before he's going to be introduced into the rest of
What,
the
like
MCU.
like a solo one?
Yeah, like a solo movie, which I guess
Oh,
will
they should do the
explain
origin.
how he becomes Silver Surfer. Yeah,
Oh
probably.
yeah, they should
And
do
then
the
one of
origin
his
with
like
him on his
first
planet and
big
everything.
missions feeding
Yeah.
Galactus, I guess, before he
Oh,
appears in the MCU.
that'd be dope.
Which I guess
I would like to
Fantastic
see
Four
that.
will lead up to that. That'll be like a side story, and all that together is going to lead to Galactus coming to Earth, which is going to be awesome.
That'd be dope.
If they do it right and they don't do it like Rise of the Silver Surfer, the Fox
Oh no.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
The only good thing about that movie was when the Silver Surfer came in through the Lincoln Tunnel.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was like, oh
Alright,
shit,
so
look, I live there.
Silver Surfer was cool in that movie. That was about
No,
the
yeah,
only
yeah.
cool thing about the entire
Yeah.
movie was how Silver Surfer was portrayed. He came out awesome throughout
Yeah.
that entire movie. Everything he did was awesome in that movie. But Galactus was whack. The rest of the Fantastic
Oh,
Four
yeah.
were whack.
One
Doctor
Galactus.
Doom. Yeah, Galactus was like a cloud of smoke in space and shit in the shape of Galactus's head for some reason. We were like, what?
For like that
What?
split second.
What a cop out. Yeah, total
Horrible.
cop out. It was almost like that Green Lantern movie where
Yeah, yeah. When,
Parallax is just a,
yeah, where
a
Parallax
yellow
is just a
fog with a
cloud.
face on it.
I know, I was gonna say the same thing. I'm like, really?
It is.
Really?
It's like the cop out ending for superhero movies, basically.
It's just so like, and they could do it for such a cheaper price and still make it look good.
Mhm.
It's freaking weird. But
Well, I was never a fan of the Fox franchises. I was never a fan of the X-Men movies. Like, I mean, originally when I was younger and I watched like the
Yeah.
first two, I liked those. But as I
Yeah, the
got
first
older, I was like, I'm not even a fan of those that much. The second one is probably the best one.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh, so you didn't
even the prequels, I wasn't a big fan of any of those. I just
really?
thought they were okay, and I just wanted them to reboot X-Men the whole time. Like
Yeah.
No,
instead of
yeah.
doing these prequel things, I was like, why do they keep putting out these garbage movies? Please just reset.
You
the
didn't
whole
like
thing.
First Class?
First Class. I felt First Class was just a repeat of the first movie done in the '60s. Like I feel like it was
Nah,
almost
it
the
was-
same formula followed in film. You know. It was almost
Nah,
like
I
I
don't
was
know.
watching the same movie. I wasn't a big fan.
And you
of that.
and you like Days of Future Past?
No, I hated that one.
Really?
Yeah, I hated the switch. I hate one of the things I hate most of Fox X-Men movies is that Wolverine's like the main character of the whole
That's the
thing.
problem. Yeah,
And-
that was
and
that was the
switch,
problem.
Yeah, Days of Future Past switching Kitty Pryde for Wolverine was
Yeah, I know.
I did not like that.
No, but well, did you ever see the cartoon version where they switched out Kitty Pryde for Bishop?
Yeah, but I mean Bishop does have a similar kind of storyline. It is kind of
Yeah.
like it is kind of like they redid the storyline again for Bishop
Yeah.
when they introduced that character. And Cable, so it's like that like 3 times they've done the same story and
No, yeah.
different characters.
No, that okay. Now here's fun. It's funny that you should bring that up because I'm
Mhm.
gonna bring up an interesting concept.
Mhm.
Not interesting concept. I'm gonna bring up something interesting. Now, the X-Men movies were done by 20th Century Fox. Okay, so that's
Mhm.
a movie studio. Then you got Warner Brothers. They're a movie studio doing their stuff, and then you got the Marvel movies. So
Mhm.
now everybody is praising the Marvel movies. They get everything accurate, they get everything good, and whatever, and all this other good stuff. And it's true because there's little subtle things that movie studios do that really annoyed the crap out of me, and this is one of them. With the X-Men movies, one of the biggest things, besides the whole thing that Wolverine should be the star, which
Yeah,
it
which is
shouldn't have
annoying.
been, and Cyclops, I think, got a raw deal.
Yes,
didn't get
oh,
any
that's my
Cyclops.
favorite That's my favorite X-Men character. He
Dude,
gets
it
fucked.
was hard.
Yeah.
I think
And the movies
it's
just
funny.
hose them from beginning to end. They
The-
treat them like shit.
The funny thing is, if you were to take the script, the amount of dialogue that Wolverine had and choose to switch on with Cyclops, then the movie would make more
Yeah.
sense. But what's crazy about those movies is that because they're made by a movie studios, they have movie studios tendencies that kind of ruin the experience.
Right.
And then you can see that in Days of Future Past, where okay, this is a dystopian future, yet everybody's dressed up nicely with hair
Yeah.
and makeup
Uh-huh.
and the best
Yeah.
looking cosplay suits ever. You
It's
know,
like,
when
this is
reality,
the dystopian future. Like this
Yeah.
looks pretty
I'm like-
fucking cool. Like, it's
I'm
like when
like,
you watch The Matrix and they're in a club and you're like, oh, this looks cool. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, but it's like if you look at Blinks and like her, she has perfectly like $1,000 makeup and hair done, and then she's supposed to be like in dystopian Russia
Yeah.
and shit.
You're
know,
running away from people, from hunters, and
Exactly, but
Yeah.
that's because that's a studio thing. Oh, it has to look nice. And in the DC world, their biggest fucking thing.
they go too
For-
dark.
No.
Mm.
Let's pretend that's a good thing. That's a real
Mhm.
good thing. All right, they go too dark. Okay, you're going dark, and we're doing all this thing. Well, you trying to be realistic.
Mhm.
Then why the fuck does everybody have the same suit just in different color palettes?
Yeah, that's true.
If you take Shazam, Batman, Aquaman, and Superman suit, it's the same suit.
Yeah,
It's just different colors.
colors.
It's
Somebody-
the same.
Bruce
it-
makes all the suits for them. That's why.
Yo, but it's yeah, okay. It's padded muscle, and it's padded muscle.
No, yeah,
on
it's
top
pattern
of that.
muscle. Yeah.
And it's like, come on, dude. You see, like, you could get away with that with Superman, but come on, like,
I think the big
everybody
problem
has.
to me with DC is that they don't have a big, like, Marvel has an overall theme and kind of feel to it, and
Yeah.
DC doesn't have that. I feel like all their movies are all over the place,
They're
and they
trying
can't
to
seem.
get
Yeah, it seems like they're trying too hard. Is what it
Because-
is. You know, it's like,
because
and it's like just focus on making one fucking really
Yeah.
good movie. Stop thinking big. Stop thinking I got to do it this. You know, or like. You know, like Zack Snyder always uses these damn filters, and everything looks exactly
yeah.
the same. Like,
Yeah.
and we get like 5 movies that look exactly the same, and it's like, you know,
but that's the
Marvel. At
thing.
least all their movies look different. Each character
Yeah.
has their own feel for their part of the series, and then they meet up together in a thing. You know.
Exactly, and that's
yeah.
what makes it unique.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you know,
But
that was the
DC doesn't
contrast.
have that. They're all over the place. Like,
Yeah, because
and
that-
they can't
that-
seem to find that cohesiveness. You know.
Because that was the contrast between, you know, Metropolis and Gotham. You know,
Mhm.
Metropolis was supposed to represent the city of the
dark
future.
side, yeah.
I mean, Metropolis and,
Mhm.
and,
Oh, yeah.
and Gotham was supposed to represent a 1945 Chicago, but like they all look the same. You
Mhm.
know, like God forbid we have fun at a Superman movie.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Superman, like, if you remember the old cartoons from the 90s, like, the Superman was the bright cartoon.
The
and
brighter,
almost
yeah.
everything took place in the day. And
In the
Batman was the
daytime.
dark cartoon. Almost everything was at night, right?
Exactly.
Like, so that it worked out really well. And that's how those movies should be. One should be bright and about hope and all this stuff and good stuff. And the other one should be dark, about grittiness.
exactly. No, but in
And
the
totally
DC
makes sense,
universe,
yeah.
everybody's gritty.
But everybody's got to be dark. Yeah. Well, this is what I think. I think Zack Snyder was like, oh, yeah, you're going to give me DC, watching me make Watchmen again 5 times in a row. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use all the characters and make the Watchmen over and over again.
No,
That's
I
basically what he did.
I guaranteed that it was like, oh man, this Marvel thing is going out of control, and they got, you know, because at the time it was Josh Whedon. It's like, Zack Snyder, you're gonna be our Josh Whedon. You take
Mhm.
everything. I go, yeah, but the problem is it didn't start with Josh Whedon. It started
Yeah.
with Favreau,
Yeah.
you know, and the other producers and directors and other projects
Mhm.
and stuff, you know.
Well, now
Oh,
you have
the-
James Gunn to put in charge of all the DC stuff. So at least maybe now they'll have one cohesive vision now that they have one person in charge of all of it. Well, I think
Well,
it's
that's-
him and someone else. So it's like a team, him and the writer. I guess they're like a team, and they're going to be in charge of all of DC now, I guess.
Yo, but I heard Gunn is coming back for Volume 3.
Yeah, he's doing. That's the
Yeah.
last. That's his last Marvel work. He's doing the holiday special that comes out
Yeah.
in like a month or two, and then the last Guardians of the Galaxy he's doing, and then he's done with Marvel, and he's gonna head DC after that.
Damn,
And
yo,
see
DC
what he
has-
does. Maybe
Let's
maybe
see.
he could turn DC around. Like they need it. They need a person with vision, to turn it around.
They need to
This is
do a
Flounder.
They need to do a multiverse thing to fix that timeline.
Yeah, I would say reboot the whole thing. It's already too convoluted. Fuck time shit. Just I'm sure that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna use this Flash movie as a reboot, and it's gonna reboot all the time. Right? It's gonna be the Days of Future Past, the DC, and they're
I
gonna
guess.
reboot the timeline. So when it starts back, there'll be a different characters in those places, and they can start over. James Gunn's Suicide Squad was pretty good.
No, I liked it.
My only problem with it was that it seemed like Harley Quinn wasn't even supposed to be in it. It seems like he
Yeah.
kind of just wrote her into the movie that was
Yeah.
already there. You know, like everything everything in the movie. Like if you took her out of it, the movie would still be pretty
No,
much the
exactly.
same movie.
But But Harley Quinn is the Wolverine of that.
yeah, but she's
Like,
the
you have
Wolverine
to
of
have her
DC.
in.
They got to
Yeah.
stop doing that.
They
gotta stop
got
doing
it for real,
that.
man.
They do. That's a
They do.
problem. Because
But
team movies are about the team. It's not about a person, right?
exactly.
Like, and that's
Yeah.
what's fun about team movies or superhero teams. I mean,
That's
like
why.
X-Men. X-Men was always great as a dynamic between the personalities in the team, right? Wolverine
Mhm.
and Cyclops always beefing about how they're gonna handle it and stuff, you know.
How they
And
gonna ban
everybody
Jean
had
Grey?
yeah, and how they're gonna bang Jean Grey, but Jean always picks Cyclops.
Cause she's a slut. No, I'm joking.
Next, he's the man. Nah.
Until Cyclops was like, until he got his first chance. Oh, you're dead. All right, I got the White Queen next. I've been looking at her for a
Yeah,
minute.
and then Cyclops gets all the hot chicks. You got Jean Grey
Yeah.
and then the White Queen.
Yeah, man.
And Madeline, what was her last name? Fuck, I forgot the Goblin Queen that looked just like Jean Grey.
Oh yeah, the one that
I forgot what her last name is. It's Madeline something. When Phoenix died, she's the one who comes. He
Yeah,
starts dating her, and she's another chick. She looks very similar to Jean Grey, like another redhead chick. And she's called the Goblin Queen. Apparently, she's supposed to be the mother of Cable in the end,
oh yeah because
because they were dating at that
the
time.
Indian, yeah, and that was
And
the
then they did
DNA.
the Inferno timeline where Cable came back, and it was the demons were coming from limbo with magic, all that shit. They need to do magic good too, and New Mutants. That New Mutants movie was kind of a disappointment as well.
You know, I still haven't watched it.
Yeah,
Like
we watched it. It was kind of boring.
really.
It was just boring, yeah, straight up.
That's the
But
one
I'm
with the
thinking
girl.
they like cut it in a way to be boring because I think Marvel was just trying to like save
Was
it.
that the one with Wolfbane?
Yeah, Wolfbane with this
With this
girl.
girl? Yeah,
from-
Arya Stark.
Yeah, Arya was Wolfsbane.
Yeah.
That chick from that Netflix chess show was Magic.
Man.
Anna Taylor Joy or whatever. It is.
Fuck that. They already mentioned X Force. We need to have an X Force, X Factor.
I'm more of a New
Like-
Mutants fan than X Force. So I thought X Force ruined New Mutants when that came out.
No,
I
because
hate it.
it's that X Force was out there, man. There was a lot of future shit.
Yeah,
and, like,
that
they
was
tried to-
that
they
was
tried
the
to be-
'90s with the extreme.
Yeah,
It
they
was
tried to-
super
yeah,
extreme,
exactly.
And you got Rob
then-
Liefeld drawing people with like ammo vests everywhere and grenades
yeah,
to the teeth.
and then like they were gonna do like hardcore storylines, like
Mhm.
like ripping Kane's arms and all that, and like Strife being his half brother or his twin brother, his clone.
I have no idea whatever ended up happening with that. That storyline was dragged on for a long time, right?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know
I
either.
don't think anybody
know
knows where that ended up going. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with X-Men and Fantastic Four and some of these characters. And
Again,
if they
that-
bring back older characters, but with new people as them, right? Like a new Iron Man or a new Captain America eventually.
Well, no.
'Cause
Well,
what are
now
they
we're
going to
gonna.
do eventually after time passes longer?
Oh yeah. Well, then after that,
They'll
yeah, they're gonna have to
redo
reboot.
a new
the
Captain
whole
America, right?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Either
I'm talking
reboot
about-
it or they have to bring in like legacy characters, like someone else coming in to become Captain America or Iron Man or whatever.
I'll tell you this much: by the time they have a brand new Captain America,
Mhm.
like Steve Rogers and a new movie and a new setup, I'll tell you this much:
That will be
those
cool,
actors
yeah.
those actors that are playing those characters are not born yet.
Mm-mm.
They're not born, or if anything,
No,
they're
they're
in
not
kindergarten.
bored, yeah, or they're,
They're
just
not
being,
bored.
yeah, they're like
Or
4
the-
years old.
Or they're in kindergarten.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
actors
true.
are gonna
I
be
agree,
those.
agree.
Yeah.
We're gonna be senior citizens by the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. So we came in at the kind of the
Mhm.
perfect time. But oh my god, imagine we would have. I told this to Jan the other day. Like sometimes, like when I can't go to sleep and I just think of stupid shit. I fantasize about what would happen if I was to go to like 1989 and everybody's gonna go. They're there to watch Batman, but I switched the reel and I put in the Dark Knight instead.
Oh my god! And then we're advanced like a
Like
10
in
years or
1980,
shit, like
yeah,
like 20
1989.
years
Like
advanced. And shit.
I would just love to see the people's faces, or
Yeah.
just be in that movie theater,
Oh
like
my
a
God,
packed movie
blow
theater,
their
opening
mind.
day. Yeah.
Or put like
Like-
Infinity War.
Oh, yeah,
and
imagine-
for Spider-Man, for the first Spider-Man movie, you put on Infinity War and blow everyone's mind.
Oh my god, yo! Yeah, I just put Infinity, the
That'd be
first one. It
nuts.
just starts off with Thanos
Oh,
talking to
God.
Thor and shit.
All right, well, it's getting kind of late, so
All
we're gonna
right.
end this. But after Rogue One, we should do a Star Wars stream and talk about
Oh,
where
hell
we think
yeah.
Star Wars should go and stuff, and where it's gonna
Oh,
go
hell
into
yeah.
and stuff.
I got
Yeah,
a
thanks.
lot to talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But thanks for coming on. Had a good time.
No doubt.
We'll do it again
Yes,
soon.
of
And
course.
thanks for watching,
Yeah.
guys. Catch you later.
Peace out.